Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi and a very good evening to everyone. My name is Nurfazir Nazira binti Mak Firdaus Fu, and for my video today, we will be discussing about challenges in organization and ways to overcome these never-ending issues. There are a lot of challenges in an organization, no matter in a company, a business, or even any civil service organization. However, in every type of organization, it needs people to run it. Employees are needed to keep the company running smoothly. In order to keep the flow of the company in check, everyone must do their part responsibly, in a sensible and a trustworthy way. But I'm pretty sure everyone here is very familiar with employee being late to work, not performing well in the task given, or even just being lazy at workplace. For instance, a salesperson who is the only one who doesn't achieve his sales goal. So, what does we call this situation? This situation is called lack of accountability. Let me explain. Accountability here means the willingness for us to take responsibility for our own actions. So from here, we can say that lack of accountability means the unwillingness to accept responsibility. Alright, so let's go back to my example just now, the salesperson. This salesperson, he knows that he is the only one who doesn't achieve his sales goal. He is aware that he is not performing well. To make the situation even worse, some managers will even let their employee to avoid accountability. Why? This is because they dislike confrontation. So without the encouragement and the push to improve, this salesperson may feel ignored, discouraged, and even devalued, which may lead him to quit. Lack of accountability sends a message to the rest of the staff that lower standards are okay. The team may begin to resent the low-performing employee. Well, because right now they even have to do extra work to make up for the team's deficiencies. If the manager does not address the problem employee, the rest of the team may perceive this situation as favoritism or even weakness, which can be very demotivating to everyone. So this will certainly cause a huge downturn to the organization, and we do not want that. But no worries, we can turn things around. Here is how you can get everyone on your team to pull the weight together. The first step is to have the difficult conversation. While holding employee accountable may sound confrontational, it doesn't have to be. Just remember to focus on the performance, not the person. Assume that most people genuinely want to do a good job and is not being difficult on purpose. Start with a specific example, such as, John, I noticed that this happened. What is your perspective of what went wrong here? Throughout your conversation, seek to understand why certain actions were taken or certain tasks were performed. Examples include, can you walk me through the process that you followed here? Or, did you experience any technical issues that we need to fix? Or, would it help if I sit in your next meeting? Employees may not understand how their behavior could affect other team members. Other common reasons for inadequate performance are the manager did not give clear instructions. Second, there are technical issues in work. Third, there are extra training is needed. And fourth, maybe there are personal issues seeping into work. And lastly, conflicting priorities. The second step is to address the problem as soon as possible. Deal with the individual one-on-one and as quickly as possible. After all, nothing is likely to change unless you confront the problem. You also don't want your frustration to build to the breaking point or for an employee's non-performance to become a big issue. You need to figure out the why behind the poor performance. This is also where you will need to find a way to match your leadership with the problem. For example, a new employee may just need a few extra training, while an experienced employee may just have too much on their plate. A highly conscientious employee just needed some coaching, while lazy bones just respond better to heavy authority. Regardless, you will need to be clear with what you expect from this employee, and you will need to have suggestions on how to make that expectation to happen. If you are dealing with a truly bad employee, don't just rely on verbal communication. Written goals and instruction can help both of you to become more accountable. As a manager, you will need to think through what is really needed for this performance to improve. With this, your employee will not be able to come up with an excuse such as, "I didn't understand," or even, "I didn't know." The third step is to consider your employee's feelings. We need to start with the assumption that some people don't understand their behavior impact on someone else. It is your job as a supervisor to be kind, find the root cause of the problem, and establish a mutual way forward. For example, Jasmine, she shows up late 30 minutes to work every day. But after talking to her, you have learned that the reason is because she has to drop off her child at school before heading to work. In her previous position, her 8:30 start is not a problem, but in her new position, it is. Firstly, explain why it is important for everyone to start at 8 a.m. Then, help her to address the situation. Jasmine either needs to change her schedule, or you will need to let her work at a flexible schedule. Based on her positions and the company's policies, you should be able to find a solution. Throughout your conversation, concentrate on maintaining the employee's self-esteem by showing concern for the individual as well as for the company's needs. The fourth step is to set SMART goals. When things are busy, it may seem like a pain to sit down and write down the procedures, the goals, and the policies. However, employees need to know what is expected from them for them to perform well and to stay motivated. If you find a consistent lack of accountability, it is likely you need to create some written SMART goals. SMART stands for S, specific, M, measurable, A, attainable, R, relevant, and T for timely. Developing SMART goals is a hot topic itself, so there is so much more to learn about this than what is mentioned here. Just know that this tactic leaves little to imagination and provides clear communication between your employee and the supervisor. The last step is to follow through and follow up. After every conversation, write down what was said. You don't have to report every issue to HR, but this is to send an email to yourself and the employee about the outline of the problem that was addressed and the solutions that you both agreed upon and the expectation for future behavior. This helps clarify the conversation for everyone involved and gives you a paper trail should there any additional actions be necessary. Finally, follow up with John or Jasmine to see if they are performing well. This actually doesn't have to be time-consuming. You can actually just follow up through the next morning and ask if they had any other questions or ideas after a night's sleep. Maybe you can ask them to come back to you to report about how they are doing after a set amount of time. Or even you can follow up again in a week or so and ask them how things are going. You may need to set a midstream adjustments for them to reach their goals. Best of all, praise them if you see them doing well. Nothing encourages great work like focusing on the positive. With that, I end our discussion today. I hope you understand my explanation on the lack of accountability and the 5 ways to overcome this organization challenge. However, we need to remember we should always work on ourselves first before we approach our coworkers or our subordinates on this accountability conversation. Work on ourselves first. Example is always the best way to teach. Thank you.